What is going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another Hobby Hang stream. Today I'll be attempting some green stuff sculpting, specifically hair, and we'll see how it goes. We're going to try and see if I can figure this out. It's a bit of a challenge of sorts, so no promises, but hopefully it'll turn out well. Pyro, how's it going? Hello to you too. He said, missed when you painted the mitt. Loved seeing it on Instagram. Well, I'm happy you were able to get a look at it, even though you missed it. That's part of the reason why I posted it on the YouTube. But yeah, wherever you see it, that's great. Let me get my reference image here. Is this? Yeah, this is correct. Yeah, so we're going for like a, well, Quiet's hairstyle from MGS Solid 5, Metal Gear Solid 5. And we're not going to need the holder here. And we'll just sort of play it by ear, see how things develop. Alfarius, what's going on? Thanks for tuning in. Jerry Sanchez, how's it going? Can't stay for long, but I figured I'd come show my support. That is very much appreciated, Jerry. Okay, so I think for hair sculpting, broadly, we're gonna want a heavier mix of yellow than blue. And I think there might have to be quite a bit of time of, quite a bit of cure time before I can start getting the results I want. It's a tricky kind of balance to find for green stuff sculpting. That's probably too much blue. Let's try half of that. Pyro asks, do I have Milliput? Only green stuff. I do have some Milliput, but it's just so messy, and I want to see if I can avoid using it for streaming purposes. If this experiment goes poorly, and I deem the results are not worth keeping, I'll scrap it. We'll cut off the attempt, and I'll try again with Milliput. Likely off stream. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, Milliput is like, it's like sand. It gets everywhere. Eric Brandenburg, how's it going? How's it going? Yeah, I don't think we'll need to do too much. I'm just gonna do a few clumps of hair. And hopefully it just layers together well, right? You got some bangs, and then basically a few on the side of her head as well, like side bangs, I guess you'd call them, and then a ponytail. But the original model comes with this braided, or is it this braided piece here? So I think I can just use the end of that for Quiet's ponytail. I think it should work. Yes, you could mix Milliput and green stuff. That is what I did in large part for the Tyrannofax, or the Tyrannorex, rather. But I found it was such a messy process. And I think maybe the Milliput I have isn't, maybe it's not the right type, because it makes my fingers feel tingly. I feel like it's... I don't know. Maybe that's not good. I don't know if that's bad for me. It's so I didn't want to just jump back into the Milliput. See if we can get away with just green stuff in it. It would be ideal. We'll see, and depending if it goes if this goes really smooth, I'll start painting a comms boy who I have sort of waiting in the wings here. Okay, he's basically fully unpainted. Like, it's a very thin layer of incubi darkness on him. You can barely tell. So we will see. I haven't done a ton of hair sculpting, so I did a bit on the big boss, War Boss, but it's a different kind of approach. It's almost like fur sculpting, because his hair is so short. Pyra says your skin is getting an allergic reaction to milliput. Oh, that could be it. Maybe that's like a very mild allergic reaction. That sounds, now that you mention it, that sounds like that likely could be the case. It sounds reasonable. Yeah, I didn't have any bumps or anything, or hives, or it just felt a little off. Just a little off. I'm trying to get this green stuff to be pretty pure, right? I don't want clumps of or already like those yellow flecks that don't want to mix in. I don't want those clumps in the end result. Try and get those out of here. So this looks pretty pure for the most part. I guess this will be our working material. It's a bit of an experiment. I'm sort of relearning how to sculpt. Relearning how to get the results I would like. I found for scales, or sorry, for cloth, it was like really ideal to sort of let the green stuff semi-cure and then affix it and then stretch it and break it. And then you would get these kinds of tears that would naturally form. And I thought that looked really good. But I don't think that approach will work for hair, even though it is kind of like they're both physics objects in that kind of sense, right? Okay, let's see if it's too early to start getting things in order. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, so we probably want to split this piece. It's still too long. Now, where are the clippers? Where are the clippers? Pyro says, I'm slowly getting the idea on how to paint my NIDs efficiently. However, the ones I've done won't have highlights on the chitin. Big bloody shame, really. A little bit. The carapace, the chitin, the shelled areas, all... That's kind of like the main material, right? That's where the attention ought to go, I think. Then you have your accenting elements. I mean, you can always circle back to your highlights, right? Save it for a refresh, you know? Get the army table ready, so to speak, like battle ready, right? And then, you know, at a time that's more convenient or more permissible, you can do your the finer details. So I think this band, this band needs more, it needs this amount of volume, and the other band that I'm gonna drape here past her ear going backwards, that's going to be much thinner. Maybe I can even use this same piece. Pyro says, also out with the 40k, I've heard people call Armless Abaddon the big boss of 40k. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, he's the big bad, right? Abaddon's your main villain for 40k, so... Look, he's not actually big boss, but he's the main bad guy. I do think there's a little bit of a design overlap. Well, not design overlap, but similar themes, you know, the man who has ambitions, who is, you know, without a home and dispossessed, right? And then he puts together a team of people who unify under his vision, right? So there's a lot of overlap there with him and Big Boss. I guess that's what people are referring to, maybe. But he's not like a great Big Boss analog, honestly. Big Boss was like the best soldier ever, right, in the Metal Gear verse. Legendary guy. So many accomplishments. I mean, Abaddon was... he certainly has his feats, but there's just so many more greater figures than Abaddon in the setting. Abaddon the Armless is an unfortunate nickname. It's too bad his old model had such heavy arms. You know, you get the Fail Abaddon nicknames and people rib on him and stuff, but I think it's mostly an adaptation problem, like many things in 40k. I think when it comes to Abaddon's, shit, almost lost that piece. I think when it comes to Abaddon, the concept, the narrative role he plays, I think it's fine. It's just an execution problem, like many things in 40k. Oh my god, how am I gonna fix this? I actually like that piece. I think it's pretty good. We're gonna have to just like smush it in there, I think. Then re-fix its shape. I have to really make that, really flatten that out. Maybe raise this piece. Okay, let us continue. Let's get another band. We'll refine as we go, and hopefully hopefully I can use time to my advantage, okay? That seems like a good shape to start with, yeah. A piece that goes over her ear, I think. I think that looks pretty, well, not actually close. We have to get rid of that spike, that's for sure. You know what? I wonder if I can split this. Oh God, we've ruined it. Quite the challenge indeed. You know what, we're going to remove it and then get it a bit thinner. So I think that is too thick. Okay, let's try that again. Let's squeeze this over a bit more and just tighten it up. Then all of those strands are gonna kind of feed out of the same starting point, I guess. I don't know what to call that. Okay. Let me catch up with chat. Let's see. Jerry Sanchez says, I always thought people who sculpt on their minis were brave. I'd hate to mess it up. The cool part about green stuff sculpting is that it's pretty forgiving. So if this hair attempt fails, you can kind of peel it off in a sense once it's fully cured on, because it'll just come off like pretty easily on it. Like it's not too big of a deal to remove it. Pyro says, leading a private army in the eye, leading endless war for his brothers in arms. Yes, that is I guess the thematic overlap between Abaddon and Big Boss. I mean, you know what? Pre-modern 40k, before Primarchs were coming back, and Abaddon truly was the most intimidating villain. He actually has quite a lot more. Like, he becomes that same figure of status as Big Boss, right? Like the best soldier of his time, right? Because everyone else is no more, right? Primarch's coming back takes away that mystique that Abaddon once had, which is unfortunate. Unfortunate, but I mean, it depends how much you like Primarchs. I don't hate Primarchs coming back. I kind of hate how it's being handled, but I don't think it's inherently a bad. I think you could do interesting things with it. Okay, let me take a look at my front view reference again. Right, so maybe we want to tighten up this a bit more. Then we have another band come around this way, right? Kind of like this. It looks terrible. Well, that's how it goes, right? When you apply a new strand. Okay, let's thin this out. It's not a terrible length from what I can tell. You know, maybe that is too long, but we can probably use that piece elsewhere. Let us put this piece here. Alright, so this piece is supposed to come down to about eye level, at least from what I can tell. Let's just apply it up and fold it back over. And what I want to do is create a bit of a division here. There's a part in the bangs that we're trying to emulate. I was debating on whether or not I should snip these spikes off her shoulder pads, just so the silhouette is more similar to Quiet's. But kind of glad I didn't I haven't done so yet because they make for good handholds. It's not bad. Can we split this into two? Is that possible? Is it possible? I feel like it still needs more volume, more bump, like, bump up towards the top of her, I don't know what to call it, the peak, the bend in the bang. Let's try if we can see if we can just add a piece on top there. Just sort of blend it in. Let's sharpen up this break a little bit. Not bad, but the shape isn't right. Okay, maybe that'll work. Pyra says, also, what do you think, or who do you think, wins between Gaz and Armstrong? If Armstrong is code for Abaddon. You got the Prophet of the Chaos Gods and the Prophet of Gork and Mork, right? It's basically what it comes down to. I think Abaddon wins by plot armor, unfortunately. I think Gaz should be of an equal threat, in my opinion, if I could have my way. But I feel like current rules, I think favor Abaddon, and I think that's the case for the rules. For the plot armor, I think for sure Abaddon gets the win, right? It's kind of like how Calgar can get the win. Well, Calgar didn't win, right? Well, he survived. It's kind of a win. Oh, Gaz versus Senator Armstrong. Well, Senator Armstrong has those nano machines. It's been a minute since I've played Metal Gear Solid or Metal Gear Rising. Been a minute. I think this is a good length for the side, for the ear, the side bangs. I don't want to call it ear hair. That's probably. Okay, so how am I gonna fix this actually? Actually, might be a bad piece to use. I'd give the win to Gaz. I think, you know, he has the warp on his side. He has Gork and Mork. Uh-oh. Did I lose that? Oh, here it is. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're having a problem here. Okay, that should be good enough to start. Jerry Sanchez says, if you were going to recommend a book for someone to start 40k lore, what would it be? Good question. Good question. I think, Jerry Sanchez, It would depend. I would probably recommend based on the faction you want to learn more about, right? If it was someone who didn't care about the hobby at all and wasn't trying to learn about anything specifically, I'd probably go with like Eisenhorn, which is I think is a great entry point to the setting. But if you want something maybe a bit more like akin to popcorn from your fiction, I think Dark Imperium is a pretty good starting point. It does establish the lay of the land fairly well. But I think Eisenhorn is much more of the sophisticated take, or a sophisticated entry point, if I were to be so bold to say. Geez, that's way too short. What am I going to do about this? Can we stretch it? Will it stretch? Uh-oh, that's the question. I feel like it only stretched so much. I think I made a terrible mistake. Jerry says, well, got around. Good luck with the sculpt. Thank you, Jerry. You have a good evening. That is very much appreciated. Matt Gaming says, hello, fellow hobbyists. Well, hello to you too, Matt Gaming. Good to see you. Good to have more people to share in the hobby camaraderie. Doing a bit of an experimental sculpt today. We'll see how it's going. I think it's, so far, I don't hate it. Don't hate it. Okay, this seems to be a decent length. We're going to use that instead. Pull this one out of here. Perfect. Perfect application. Let's just nudge that into place. Okay, so I think that should yield good length. I think if I let it cure for a little while, I should be able to start cutting into it, and it should hold its shape for the most part. For the most part. Well, we'll have to see. I don't want you to stick to yourself. That was a good shape. Damn. And I guess you could use it this way, but there we go. And we'll flip it and place it kind of, oh god. The fear that I feel when I drop when I drop a sculpted, a piece that's been shaped perfectly. Jesus. It's like I don't want to ruin the shape, you know? Okay, I need 3 hands. That's what I need for this. God. Going to have to do something risky. Let me start smushing it into place. Power says the fear. Let me see what. Mad Gaming says which is better, suppressors or interceptors? Because I've heard suppressors, but I don't know. The needing to be killed in 2 damage shots on the interceptors seems kind of good. Mad Gaming says the extra health and toughness just seems good. Yeah, Primaris Inceptors, though I understand the confusion, is what they're called. Inceptors are much better than suppressors. Suppressors have a unideal rule, and AP1 sucks. And the rule Inceptors have to deep strike within 3 inches is just vastly more useful and rarer than giving an enemy unit -1 to hit. I mean, that giving an enemy -1 to hit, like suppressing fire, is the kind of unit ability that you would expect on an army with a lot of cheap units. But for Space Marines, where all their units are so expensive, it's almost like you can't afford to take that ability because the other abilities are too crucial. You only have so many units you can take in your army. You can't have just a group of goobers who are like, suppressing fire, and then the enemy target has -1 to hit. Pyro says, the fear! Yes, exactly. Exactly, it is the fear. Alright, so now that we got this affixed, famous last words, right? Now that I got it affixed on here, let's try and shape it a bit. Oh god. Okay, what I want is basically for, oh no. Oh, it's been ruined. It's been ruined. Jeez. I wanted one of these to go this way and one to go backwards. Oh, it looks terrible. Terrible. It was such a good shape. This happens, though. This happens with the green stuff work. what can you do? I'm gonna have to make longer, thinner noodles, I think. I think that's the way to go. Then as you flatten them, maybe then you can create our wedges. You know, I'd like a nice curve from this strand. I don't want it to bend like a witch's finger, you know? Okay, so maybe we can adjust that once it cures a bit. So what I'd like to do is just snip and pull this and see what happens. Still don't like how bad that end looks. Can I get rid of it without ruining everything? That's the question. I gotta wait. Maybe we gotta wait. Okay, unfortunately, I think I ruined this. Irons. We're gonna remove that again. And let's go in with maybe this piece. Yeah, that looks closer to the target length. Yeah, I think so. Sliced Melon says, lol quiet with a big scoped big shooter. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Perfectly to pair with my big boss. Pyro says, alright, the green stuff. Or Pyro says, alright, green stuff, some bases to hold magnets. Interesting. Green stuff in to hold magnets. You know what I've been doing, and I found it to be pretty sturdy hold, is to actually use like a glue gun glue. And it's pretty sturdy. Like, it's not really gonna come off. It's a little messy though. You have to clean the spider webs, so to speak, afterwards, but I was using super glue previous to that, and it just kept failing. I don't know if it's just cold weather exposure over time. This wasn't as good. Matt Gaming says, Inceptors. My bad. The Inceptor is the plane, right? Yeah, the Interceptor is the plane. You are correct. Matt Gaming says, do you think Armiger Helvrins will make a good base for a Metal Gear Rex conversion? I think they could. It's a bit small. It might be good for like the prototype Metal Gears from the original Metal Gear games. I think it might be cooler for those. Or like a good base for a Gecko or something. Geckos are weird though. They're so they're like semi-organic. They're a weird one. Mihaly Pete, welcome to the stream. If not her skin, then at least make her clothes purple. I will probably paint her in accordance to the army scheme and how she would look in, so lots of green skin, that's for sure. Lots of exposed green skin. But honestly, like, one of my buddies is an orc connoisseur. He knows many things but the orcs. Longtime orc guy, and he basically explained to me the purple orcs is an internet meme. It's not really a GW thing. Now, I took him on his word for that as being true, so you guys in chat can let me know if it's, there is a lore point. Like, there is a clan out there who's all about purple, and purple's hard to see, and they are all about stealth tactics. I don't believe that's the case. That's not my understanding at all. I believe it was a meme made by the community because there wasn't a clan that used purple as a color, and so it became the inference that that's because purple's the stealth color. But it's not actually a thing. And if I'm going to look, this is like a Metal Gear orc collection, right? So there's already a strong meme here. I don't want to dilute my meme for the other meme, the purple meme, right? I guess that's really what it comes down to. Unfortunately, I will not be doing purple. Maybe on someone. Maybe on the grot with the grapple gun. Maybe he'll get a little bit of purple. And the fear of smushing the work that's already been done is real. Okay, not bad. I'm liking the direction we're heading in, guys. At this stage, I don't think I'll be scrapping the work that's been done. Got some decent shapes. Decent shapes. I'm gonna get rid of this. It's like garbage. Just garbage green stuff just hanging on here. It's ruining everything. Oh God. Okay, we'll just leave it out there. Leave it out there to cure, and hopefully it becomes easier to remove. Okay, let's see. Yeah, overall, you know, we need another piece coming backwards. Alright, let's make another wedge. Could this work? It's a bit too short. Like the green stuff is already beginning to lose its adhesiveness, which is good for shaping, but bad for setting in place. Yeah, like a wedge like that. So I'll probably cut it a bit shorter. Just before we try and stamp that into place, I want to just squish this forward. Trying to fix the silhouette here. Okay, I think we can work with this. We'll have to flatten it a little bit. The idea is to try and sell the illusion that these layers are underneath the ones previously applied. So that strand is... Actually, I'm really happy with that, with this back one. Looks like a big old noodle. It's no good. Maybe we can snip and pull. Alright, let's catch up with chat. Sorry about that, guys. I was just surprise, surprise. Green stuff work requires a bit of focus. Matt Gaming says, you know the Crackle Paint lava bases? I do. My friend did one of those on his Legion of the Damned Space Marines Power Sword, and it looked so good. I kind of want to replicate it, but with blue, because my custom chapter are all about blue flames. Yeah, that could be a cool look. I've not done too much work with Crackle Paint. I have some of the GW stuff, and maybe I've tried it on one or two bases, and I couldn't get it to cooperate. I think it's user error, not a fault of the product. Because I've seen similar effects to what you're describing there, Matt Gaming, and it can look really nice. Putting it on swords is... that takes... it's not something I'm confident in doing. I feel like I may... If I were to try it, it could just result in a globby sword. But again... Maybe with a little bit of practice, you can get to a place where you're very confident, and you would know just how this thickness of the Crackle Paint is going to behave in such a way, and you can kind of pre-plan your blends, and I imagine you can get to that level of proficiency. Got a chunk of that yellow stuff in there, but I don't think it's gonna ruin the effect. I think we should be okay. Let's tighten that up. Can we curve this now a bit more? Not. Well, I don't hate that piece. That's actually curved nicely. Okay, so let's see if we can shape these other strands in such a way that we can kind of increase our readability a little bit. I wonder if another tool would be better for this. Let's see. Does it help or make it worse? And if I can lift this, it's risky business though. Very risky. Okay, I think I'm fairly satisfied with this result. I think that front hair does work. our green stuff has lost all of its stickiness, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Yeah, we're about an hour in. I probably mixed this shortly after the stream started, right? So makes the sense. Yeah, that won't work. Let's look at this ponytail here. Can this work? It'd be great to not have to make this. So, Quiet's ponytail is actually fairly large, but honestly, I think it should work. I think it should work. I might have to trim the back of her head a little bit. Pyro says, got to go. Good luck on the hair. Much appreciated, Pyro. You take care. Have yourself a good evening, and thanks for tuning in. I wonder if it's worth mixing some more green stuff. So I do think like with the bangs, you know, adequate, I would say. I think what would help sell the do would be to bulk up the body of the hair. The main area, as it were. I'm gonna bulk up. Or it might just be that the original haircut of this model maybe should have been trimmed a little bit more before I started sculpting. Let's see what happens if I just snip this. I mean, that alone might allow this to work. I think so. We'll see. Might be a case where you want to sleep on it, reevaluate with fresh eyes. Okay, let's glue those pieces. I'll score this a bit. Just a touch. Flight of Icarus. Welcome. Just saw your message. You ever run across a bit that you decide is just too interesting to go on the model it initially was supposed to go on? I had that happen with the Tempestus Aquilons. I found a head I'd much rather put on my interrogator. Interesting, interesting. Yeah, I'm sure there has been. Off the top of my head... Nothing comes to mind. It's one of those things where I can't recall it in the moment. But there have definitely been bits I've kept aside for like, oh, this would look good on a champion, or... I guess the, maybe the Firekeeper's company champion, or chapter champion, in his Monster Hunter getup, with that helmet that's very evocative of the classic Monster Hunter armor set. With the open visor, I think that's a good example of what you're talking about. On my part, anyways. It is ultra satisfying when that happens. Okay, and let's score the... I don't know if this needs scoring, but we're going to do it anyways. And it seems like we're going to get some painting time in today, which will be cool. I like that. Oh God. Oh man. Okay. Okay, so let us see if it fits, or if it'll stay. I think it'll do. Doesn't have the weight of Quiet's ponytail, unfortunately. Yeah, it's defying gravity, which is a problem. It could work as a, you know, just a haircut or a style on its own, but for the look we're going for, it's not... going to work. And I think that's just too thick of a material to bend with the heat gun and tweezers or something. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I'll keep that aside. Okay, we're gonna leave that experiment for off camera. But yeah, look, I think the hair sculpting went okay. I think once paint is applied, it should be as effective in what it's trying to communicate as the Big Boss hair sculpting. I think it should work. So, we'll just let that cure. Be careful not to smush it. Alright, let's pack away this blue and yellow stuff. And we'll switch to a painting mode. Look, I thought it would happen, and so I planned ahead. I have all my painting stuff ready to go here. I'll get all that green stuff out of here, you know? You don't want that dirtying up my workspace. Okay, so comms boy. I think that's what he's called. A communications guy. And let me pull up my reference here, my Orc Commando Kill Team reference. Because I do find those sample paint jobs useful. So as per usual, we'll start with the skin. The orc's not quite green, but still technically green skin. And I think Incubi Darkness is the last color I'm looking for. Perfect. Oh, this guy's got tactical fingers. Gloves with tactical fingers. The true mark of a commando. Wait, is this skin or is this a shirt? I think it's skin. begin mixing in some Sons of Horus Green. Gotta paint in line with that orc anatomy. Just try and let it guide the brush direction. There is something rather satisfying about being able to paint anatomy when you're so used to painting power armor all the time. It is a palette cleanser of sorts. You know, once I get this orc kill team done, I think it'll be another power armor project. I would like to jump to Eldar, but I feel I need to spread out the Xenos focus a little bit. You need to serve the power armor. It's better for the algorithm, unfortunately. Let's mix a bit of the Ogren camo in there and see if this is too bright. I think we can work with it. I mean, by the time we add all our layers in, it does turn back into a green skin. Definitely more on the blue side of things, though. Alright, let's build up that other side. Alright, let's hit these knuckles with some Ogren camo. Yeah, this wrist look, or this back of this hand looks weird. Not... Well, maybe we can live with weird. I was going to address any concerns with chat, but it seems you guys are also feeling rather quiet, which I'm cool with. If we're just, in the hobby grind collectively, that's fine with me. Okay, let's paint these, his face, or at least the bit of his face we can see. Try and preserve those, that dark incubi darkness where we can. Yeah, painting orc eyes is not something I've really figured out in a way where I'm like satisfied with the approach. I'm just sort of experimenting on each one of these models with a different technique to see and try and find or I guess develop a method that I prefer. Okay, I think that's good enough for his face though. You don't need too much definition. Do these eyebrows, they're a lighter color, and that should be enough. Enough to suggest it's been painted. On the underside of his neck, we probably won't even go in with Ogren camo. We can likely just go with the Sons of Horus layer. Let's get some Sons of Horus down on those biceps. Just like the minimal necessary color for the underside of a model. I wonder if darker schemes have a greater tolerance for the amount, or if the the amount you don't have to paint as to such a well-defined degree. Or like if you have a white scheme like Beal Tan, it's probably going to be more noticeable. Those unpainted or lesser defined components. Lesser defined. Okay. Flight of Icarus says, I'm still thinking about kit bashing my own Inquisitor using House Delac, I think that's how you pronounce that, as a base. I'm trying to think of ways to break up the silhouette that make it look different from just a Delac ganger with Inquisition symbols. Maybe a hat or a fur over his back would help, I think. Yeah, probably. The House Delac guys remind me of, well, they just look like a bunch of creepazoids. Very tall and unnerving. A bit like Resident Evil cultists, I suppose. Yeah, if you want to break up the silhouette, hats are a good choice, especially if you like that witch hunter aesthetic of, like, you know, the Ordo Hereticus Inquisitors. That could work. Cape would also work, like whether it's fur or just cloth or a jacket. Jacket's a hard sell, though. I mean, I don't know if you can find bits that you could just affix, like a jacket, but just worn over your shoulders, like a person who's distinguished. Okay, let's. This guy's got a rope too. Let's do our metal colors. And I'll look at the Balthazar ready, because I'm probably going to use the excess to make a softened bronze. Yeah, the fur over the back isn't terrible, Icarus. Like, you know, I'm sure some Space Wolf pelt bits should fit fairly well. Those Necromunda, you know, I actually haven't played Necromunda or had too much experience with it, but just from looking at them, they seem to be fairly big, right? Like a heroic scale. And because of that, I would imagine the Space Wolves upgrades should work. Should be decent. So the gun's gonna be all metal. The coil's probably bronze, and this panel here I think is actually black, since that's the weapon casing color for these for this team, for the Metal Gear Orc team. So we'll leave that section there, but hit the rest of it. Hit the rest of it with our metal color. Okay, where are our other metal components? We have this pretty crude headset. These are probably all metal. If we want that cable to be rubber, I think that would look best. We'll make this metal. Oh, the zipper, of course. think this rebreather would also benefit from being a metal component, just to help break up his face a bit more. Any buckles? Yeah, we have one here. And what else? One here, and this power pack. Of course, the power pack. Well, they painted red, actually. Maybe I'll keep it red. Or do the same. My scheme is a bit more starved for color than theirs is, so might be a good idea. Okay, let's get some Balthazar gold mixed in there. Because I want the coils here to be bronze. I think that would look pretty good. Just mixing a nice soft bronze. Balthazar is just too strong. Yeah, we'll put some white ink in there, do some contrast effects. I think it'll look like a really neat weapon. Any other areas that need to be bronze? I guess his bullets that he carries for a gun he doesn't hold. That's orcs for you. It's probably there for the weapon option you could give him, which is just a shooter or a slug and a chopper. That's probably it for our metal colors. How much time do we have? 10 minutes or so? Okay, we won't start up anything crazy. Let's work with what's on the palette. We got some gray, which is perfect. Perfect for our sneaking suit. Now, just eyeballing this, it feels a bit bright compared to the other guys in the squad. Look, these are the follies of mixing your own colors. Let me see if I can grab our flamer boy. He's a flamer. There he is. Okay, so it's maybe slightly, just slightly brighter. This guy does have, the Burna boy here does have a wash on him. Yeah. It's reasonably, I think it's close enough. You can just add some low lights. Add a few low lights and then give it the same wash and it'll probably look close enough. You do get some nice fabric folds on these guys. Okay, how are we for time? Just coming up on 2 hours. Let's give this a quick Nuln oil wash and then wrap her up. Basically all the gray areas and the metal areas. And I think all the backpacks and tactical straps will be done in a camouflage or like a castellan green, like an olive drab sort of color. And I think washing those in an earth tone, or like an earth shade, will kind of help differentiate those two areas. Even though they're both cloth type materials. Yeah, so all the suit, the body is all been hit, which is good. Let's do the face mask. Metal colors. And we're going to need a lot more for this. And what's left? Just the bullets. Neat. Where that should, yeah, everything looks hit. Good. That is good. Well, that's a wrap on a more laid-back hobby hang. Fairly productive. Look, we got this guy. I mean, look, technically, he's battle ready. Look at 3 colors, ready to go. Well, minus the base, but yeah, further along than I thought he would be. And on the quiet sniper, I think the hair turned out pretty well. I'll have to do a bit of an experiment on the ponytail, but you know, there's that strand here. That's a nice nice shape here, and I think the front fits the hairstyle's silhouette fairly well. May have to bulk up the back half of the haircut, since this model had a more tapered sort of mohawk thing going on. But yeah, anyways, Thanks for joining and sharing the hobby camaraderie, and I'll catch you guys